Hey everybody, this is Carl back again for another spoiler review. Uh, uh, I'm finally covering Black Adam. Um, as promised Sunday, I wanted to cover Black Adam really quick. Uh, yeah, I mean, if you watch my uh, DCEU YouTube tier list that I just put up on the YouTube channel, that's youtube.com/talkativecarl, and definitely check it out if you want to hear my rankings of the DCEU so far up to the point of Black Adam, which in subsequent DCEU films moving forward, I will be adding to that. Same thing as my MCU ranking, which is another video I have up, and we'll get back to after the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday thing. Um, uh, yeah, Black Adam. Yeah, of course. It stars Dwayne The Rock Johnson as Black Adam, of course, and Aldris Hodge as Hawkman, as well as Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate. Um, and of course, you got Noah Centino as uh, Albert Rothstein, aka Adam Smasher. Uh, Sarah Shahai as Adrena Tomez. Uh, um, Marwan Kinzari as Sabak, aka Ashmiel Gregor, Quintessa Swindle as Maxine Hunkel, aka Cyclone, and oh, she was on Euphoria, huh? But honestly, I don't know who Cyclone is. This is one of those very obscure, uh, uh, kind of heroes. I guess I knew for a second, like when she was in the scene where you see her, she's king some sequence in to let her inside the building of the Justice Society compound, which is too reminiscent to the X-Men compound, in my opinion. But she turns out to be the granddaughter of Red Tornado, and I knew I saw the title Red Tornado on the computer screen. Uh, which I don't know how Red Tornado, a cyborg or just a robot, uh, has like a granddaughter, but whatever. I looked it up later. And Pierce Brosnan as Kent Nelson, aka Dr. Fate, and Buhi Sabangui as my butchering the hell out of that name, playing Amon Tomez, and 1 second here. He's kind of like, well, holy hell! It turns out, just looking up this character, because some of these characters I am not totally familiar. It's just like a, you know, like Tomaz and Cyclone, for example, I'm not too familiar with compared to the others. But just like, Captain Marvel, aka Shazam, can lend his power to the Marvel family, Black Adam did the same for Amon, and he's kind of like the you know contemporary to Captain Marvel Jr. and uh, Adriana Tomez, I think is in the DC Comics is supposed to be the wife of Black Adam, like Isis. So this is a little inside thing for you guys because some of this stuff I did not even know. So, but anyway, uh, you get the, you know, I want to say generic, probably generic or tropey to some people, with the over narration of like like the tale of the Kondak's hero, this boy who got the power from the wizard Shazam and his fellow wizards, and became a hero for Kondak. Then, after defeating their uh, ruler who's been oppressing them, the hero disappeared, and then like from centuries on, Kondak is in constant state of being ruled over by, oppressors. Then Adriana, some kind of like, freedom fighter kind of thing. She reminds me, like, she carries on like a combination of Tomb Raider mixed with Sarah Connor, and for the most part she works fine. I'm not too uh I don't care that much for the son, because I don't know, it's like, oh, he's a skateboarder, he's like constantly on his skateboard, and like you trying to do the whole Terminator 2 thing with him and Black Adam. Was like, you gotta say a catchphrase, and I don't know, and he throws up like Jay-Z's The Rock symbol just to inspire the people. It's like, I don't know, something about that kid I did not really care for, or at least the way he is written I typically don't care for. You have like somebody to like Black Adam to empathize with. That's like, like, oh, this little kid, and he's like, reminds me of my kid, blah blah blah. But she and a group of these other, let's say, freedom fighters, trying to uh, acquire this MacGuffin, this crown thing. It's always some kind of MacGuffin. I know MacGuffin get like a bad rep in a lot of movies, but sometimes they do they function well in stories, and other times like this feels like an obligatory way to create an overall bad guy for Black Adam to fight. Uh, um, she acquired his crown, and then some group of mercenaries break in, and these mercenaries, if you're familiar with DC Comics, they're called the crap. I'm blanking on the name that fast. Intergang, and Intergang is usually like a Superman kind of, like Metropolis kind of gangs in there. Uh, and in order to, because she was about to die, and she had like her brother with her, and that guy, you know, I don't know, he's another person that kind of served no purpose. We'll get to that in a second. She reads the inscription on the ground and summons uh, Black Adam. And this part is part one of my favorite parts in the film. And don't get me wrong, like, with my issues with certain characters, uh, this part is like one of my favorites, where you can tell they try to do like an R rating, just like with like Venom 2, but in post they kind of reeled it back to just barely making it PG-13, and you see like Black Adam just like, Mortal Kombat's everybody in this tomb, and one moment he tosses the guy so fast his arm tore off, and you see like I'm just dropping the arm like on the ground, and he just like, awesome cinematography on this part. And there's one moment, because after he saves uh uh Adriana from debris from about to fall on her, he breaks out of the tomb, and all this intergang, military personnel is trying to attack him, and as he put it, they were in his way. So he proceeds to uh very, I know it's kind of like cliche at this point by now, but do the Quicksilver thing, and like everything's slow mo, and he just like you know puts like a grenade in a guy's mouth. He moves like an exploding propeller a different direction. It'll cut somebody in half, and then moving missiles in other directions. At one moment, and I thought it was like awesome, kind of if you blink and you miss it. Where before all that starts, he goes up to a helicopter, and he just like almost like a blur, just and it's just the way the blur effect looked. It looked so awesome. It's like almost in like a streak, and just moves out of the way and just behind the helicopter to push it towards another helicopter. The whole entire sequence is so good. But one person gets like a lucky shot off with like a missile that has this Eternium thing. It's always some kind of, you know, like a very faux kryptonite thing, because you gotta have something to like, you know, not like, I don't want to use the word like just make the, it's kind of like forcing a weakness onto a character rather than coming up with like a unique way of making this character not too powerful, or at least he's powerful, but he's limited by something that his power cannot outmight. So you got this thing. So Adriana brings Black Adam to her house to try to mend, but he got mad. He can mend himself. He wakes up in Amon's room. His kid's name Amon, right? Yeah, Amon's room. And this is the part where it kind of like made me cringe. And of course, this kid has so many DC memorabilia. And like, okay, I get it. It's the DCEU. You don't need to hammer it home. Like, sure. Like, not to say like, if you're a fan of a particular franchise, you probably would have some stuff in there. But it's like littered all over his room with Superman posters, which of course Black Adam punches right through. Just like, yes, okay, we get it. And then you got like, Batman figurines, Flash posters and Wonder Woman posters. And you got all this stuff. Like, okay, we get it. It's like with the MCU. Just because, we see like Spider-Man's room, you don't see him having Thor and Iron Man stuff littered all over the place. Like, come on. It's like, calm down. And that's just me personally. I'm not sure how you guys feel, but that just seems like overkill with like, what what world we're in. And they're just gushing over Teth Adams, like, oh, you're the hero. Like, we still have a statue of you, and like you can liberate us from the Intergang. And he's telling them like, I'm no hero. Like, you can like take care of these people like yourselves. Uh, but then you see in another scene, Amanda Waller contacting Carter Hawkman into dealing with Black Adam because he's like causing this entire ruckus. It's like this massive metahuman. Now, why would, because for a good stint right now, ever since the first Suicide Squad movie, we know who Amanda Waller is as an individual and what she's all about. she would not even. First of all, she wouldn't even contact somebody like the Justice Society. She would have used some kind of Task Force X, but with like you know decent power levels to try to combat uh, somebody like Black Adam. Secondly, the Justice Society would not work with somebody like Amanda Waller because they're all about like not killing people or whatever. Like it just her her way of or methods doesn't jive well with somebody like the Justice Society and the Justice League. You they berate somebody like Amanda Waller for like using criminals and forcing them to do things by implanting bombs in their heads. But that part is like kind of weird to me that they would be associating themselves with Amanda Waller like that. But I gotta say, Aldous Hodge and Pierce Brosnan's portrayal of Hawkman and Dr. Fate is fantastic. I love these characters here. It's probably like my favorite characters in the entire film, and like I gotta admit, like I love like the mystical supernatural characters a lot. I love Doctor Strange, but I'm sitting there crossing my fingers. It's like, please no mirror dimension. Please don't no mirror dimension. And like of course like Doctor Fate, he was created before Doctor Strange, but Doctor Strange became like a little bit more popular. Even slightly before his movie, he, kind of sort of was a little bit more popular and had a little bit more comics dedicated to him compared to someone like Doctor Fate, which is kind of like a shame. Because I personally put the onus to DC, forcing every freaking writer to write put more of their energy into Batman stuff rather than try to elevate these other characters that, especially after, you would think after the first Doctor Strange movie, DC will be a little bit more earnest into trying to like, okay, we gotta push Doctor Fate. We got our own Doctor Strange. We need to push this. And I bet you now they're gonna be trying to make and this is my issue with DC Comics. It's like just because they got like a movie with Dr. Fate is in it, we better have all of ours just trying to, okay, we gotta get Dr. Fate comics out there right now. And it's like, half of let's just say like there's like 10 writers, including Tom King, they're gonna have like, trying to put out Dr. Fate stuff. Maybe half of that will be any good. And the other half are gonna be piss poor because like they gonna probably don't feel like or want to write any Dr. Fate stuff, or don't have any good stories with to pertain with Dr. Fate. And it's like, and that's my issue with DC and Marvel comics. As a matter of fact, it's like rather than pushing all your writers to do the same old characters that we been like bogged down with in the past decade and a half, why don't you try to like, well, maybe have, first of all, the writers need to like speak up and say like, I have a good idea for a Dr. Fate story, rather than get and push that, so that way it's like, okay, there's no movie out, so there's no agenda here. They actually want to write a Dr. Fate story and put it out there. And it's like you're gonna have some subpar writing, and people are not gonna be encouraged to buy any Dr. Fate comics, any new Dr. Fate comics from their local comic book shop, because most of it is not going to be any good, so they're not going to be encouraged to put out more Dr. Fate. So it's like, that's my grievance with it. Just like try to, put some, lift up your lesser known characters up a bit and give them a shot without the rhetoric of, oh, it's a movie or a TV show coming out, so of course they pushing Dr. Fate now. And that's my issue with like the Riddler. Oh, the Batman's coming out. We better push so much Riddler stuff down everybody's throats now because there's a movie out. And I was like, no, no, encourage these characters way before any logic, or I mean not logic, but any TV or movie even conceived this stuff in the first place. Anyway, you got like Cyclone and Atom Smasher, and like the actors involved weren't doing like they're doing like a good job with the material that they're given, but they kind of feel like you can take them out. And personally, I feel like you could take them out and it wouldn't change the story not one iota. Personally, uh, you could have like I've read like she's supposed to be like the granddaughter of Red Cyclone, the original Red Tornado. I mean, and it's like you could just had Red Tornado and Atom Smasher. You need a comic relief. He putting all. It's like nobody likes the fact that if you're making a movie and you need a comic relief, instead of doling out a bit of comic, spreading out the comic relief among a little bit with everybody, you shouldn't put all the weight of comic relief on one character. And it's kind of like making like, oh, we need like the Spider-Man Tom Holland character here, so we'll just put make Adams after that. It's like and he got the whole Deadpool mask thing going on, and it's like it's not like a bad thing, but I don't know. Like I said, like you take him out, wouldn't make one a difference, to be honest. And he trying to like trying to spark some kind of romance between each other. It's like nobody cares. And it's like you could have just had maybe like a separate Justice Society film before Black Adam, and maybe we'll have a little bit more interest in these two having some kind of like something in my hair, some kind of like romantic feelings towards each other. But honestly, it's like nobody cares. At least personally, I think like nobody cares. Like, because they didn't really bring much. But they're called in to bring in Black Adam, and of course, there's been comics where Black Adam and Justice Society come to blows. And let's be honest, Justice Society, as great as they are, they really won't be any match to Black Adam. Maybe Dr. Fate, but I kind of feel like they're dumbed down the powers of Dr. Fate in this. Even after Hawkman mentions how like he has like the powers of a god, which now the helm of Nabu, the helmet of Nabu, is in that vein of godhood thing. So yeah, he would be able to like easily, depending on the writer, Dr. Fate should be able to easily mop the floor with, or at least give Black Adam a good challenge in a fight compared to anybody else on the Justice Society. But it's Black Adam's movie, so the writers have to make him like, slightly OP more so than any of the other characters. Even though Hawkman, looks like he was like holding his own against Black Adam relatively. But they always like, sniping at each other. So they come in, try to, take them down, at least by force at first. But after some, battle, which is a pretty decent battle, but after like everybody got a breather, everybody in Kahndaq is praising Black Adam, and Adriana points out to the Justice Society, because they told him, we're here to help you guys, and she points out, which is like a legit point they'd have to make, that where were you here for, fight for justice and peace? Where were you guys in the past few decades when like our country was being like overrun by all these like interlopers uh plundering our resources and oppressing us, and like is which is a legitimate question, which is something like the Justice League will probably get that kind of question too as well. um and of course Ken Nelson notices like the crown of Sabak and how dangerous that is, and you know you know how like incredible upheaval it can like uh uh dish out. They have to find it and contain that thing. But really quick, I want to point out when we get our first introduction with Hawkman, I'm seeing his clothes, and of course he got like nth metal, which a lot of his gear is made out of, and apparently like the ship has some uh, nth metal to it, which is kind of like DC's version of like I guess adamantium or vibranium. Uh, but I'm getting like very Black Panther vibes from uh, Hawkman right now, because he's just his clothes feels like something like Chadwick Boseman will wear in the first movie, and it's like you know and of course the ship was made out of this strong metal. Only thing missing in my opinion is the Wakanda music, let's be honest, because like wow, you making like Hawkman the Black Panther of this entire thing, which is fine, but it just like I don't know about you, I got that kind of feeling. uh but come to find out, uh one of the mercenary guys, Gregor, who thought was dead in the tomb once those mercenaries came. Turns out he was working with the mercenaries. He's leader actually, and he wants the crown because he is the descendant of the king that uh, Black Adam defeated long ago, and he ends up kidnapping Amon, and so they offer like a trade, and uh, while trying to stop him from shooting Amon, Black Adam comes in, unleashes all this massive lightning surge, killing Gregor, and then but the boy is safe, and uh, but minor wounds, and then they all go back to the ship, and you hear the story from Black Adam that he wasn't the savior; it was his son, and one day the son went home and found his father mortally wounded, his mother dead, because the king at the time figured, I can't physically stop this guy uh, personally, but we'll go after his family. They found out his family and laid a trap. And the son uh, lent his strength to his father to keep him alive, but in the process, an assassin's arrow hit him, killing the son. So now, Black Adam went out and took his revenge on the king, destroying uh, the entire palace and his followers, and everybody's completely annihilated. Then the wizard and all the wizards uh, uh, capture Black Adam and try to to seal him away. He ends just like you see a bit in the Shazam movie. all the wizards are dead because of Black Adam trying to avoid getting sealed away. But the wizard Shazam was the only one left around to finish up the sealing magic, which later on Adriana released him from. And it wasn't a tomb; it was a prison. And this is the part where it kind of gets on my nerves because there's no reason for this. He, I guess, Black Adam blames himself for, you know, hurting, inadvertently hurting Amon while trying to save him from a bullet. He uh, uh, calls out the lightning to uh, uh, take away his powers and have Hawkman take him to a secret underground base to keep him confined that's run by Amanda Waller. And it's like, why would you need to give up your powers? It seems like a cliche way to take him off the board, or at least, you know, not I wouldn't say cliche, but more so like uh, an obligatory way to like take your main piece, the more powerful piece off the chessboard. Then now, like, we find out Sabac's crown. It means about like pretty much the way to power is through death. So upon his death, the uh, these demons who's supposed to be the antithesis to the wizards of Shazam, since the wizards had their champion, we need our champion. So we give uh, Gregor our power, and he rises up as like a demonic supernatural force, which is Shazam, I guess, and I guess Black Adam's, you know, part of their rogues gallery. I have a comic. Uh, it was an Outsiders comic. It was the only Outsiders comic I got, where Sabak is created, and the Outsiders are trying to deal with him, but it's left on a cliffhanger where, you know, Captain Marvel Jr. Shows up to deal with Sabak. And just to clarify about like Sabak, because I think he's Italian in because sworn he was an Italian in the comic. But anyway, uh, um, second here. Oh, and like Sabak, you know, or at least Gregor uh, is depicted in flashbacks in the fifth season of Green Arrow TV show. Did not know that. Uh, yeah, it's like a demonic thing. And go ahead and DC Comics like wiki. Um, oh yeah, this is thermal blast, flight, superhuman strength, stamina, speed, reflexes, agility, invulnerability, accelerated healing. Yeah, just a demonic version of Shazam. Yeah, he's Russian in the comics. but he, in the movie he's played as like Middle Eastern. So yeah, I knew I wasn't crazy. But anyway, uh, so now he got this power, and now like, oh, Justice Society's trying to, you know, take him on, but Dr. Fate been getting these kind of visions depicting Hawkman's death, and you could tell like, the chemistry between these two actors is phenomenal, but you can tell there's like some history and friendship between these guys, and uh, like once again, Dr. Fate can easily tank this guy if he wanted to. He's pretty much Sorcerer Supreme of the DC universe. There's no reason why he should have any trouble. It'd be kind of funny if Dr. Fate was taking this guy on and he used like a time loop to stop this guy. I don't know. It would be kind of funny. But anyway, you see like awesome power display from Dr. Fate, just cloning himself and like just some of these kind of crystal shard things and making illusions, that kind of thing. Is like the magic used in Dr. Fate is amazing. And of course, I'm pretty sure the writers behind this movie was keeping in mind, okay, we gotta make sure we do not repeat what we've seen from Doctor Strange, but these two magicians operate on the same kind of power set. I mean, like wherever Doctor Strange does, Doctor Fate can probably easily do too. So it's like, but the only thing you gotta avoid is like doing anything very distinct, like the sling ring portal uh, uh, display and like mirror dimensions. I think those two are distinctly Marvel related, and you can't have that kind of thing in the DC EU. So I would say just avoid those two at the very least. But by and large, it can pretty much do the exact same thing. Uh, and so uh, Dr. Fate trying to change fate by taking on Sabak by himself and to keep Hawkman alive because the world still needs him. Even though I'm thinking to myself, like, I know my fair share of Hawkman, and most of his power set is reincarnation. He will be revived at some point down the line, and you know, and to start this whole process of being Hawkman all over again. So it's like, and eventually we'll meet Shayera, Hawk Girl, but you know, you got to have like some kind of stakes, I guess. So of course, but in the end, defeats Dr. Fate. Although, uh, in the meantime, while tangling with Sabak, he's getting reaching inside the mind of Black Adam. Uh, you know, saying that sometimes the world needs something dark to defeat something even darker, or something like that. Sometimes we need like to like we need somebody like you to do the things that most of the heroes in the world cannot do. Kind of like sometimes you need like a black ops group. Like we got like our standard, like U.S. got like a standard military to fight wars and stuff, but sometimes you need like a black ops group to do some like very shady stuff uh, to get certain things done that most of the world will probably be abhorrent to, but it's kind of things that even though we probably morally would not agree with, understand this gotta do some very shady stuff in order to get certain things done to protect like probably the whole world more than likely. And that's where like somebody like Wolverine or Deadpool or Elektra or Punisher or even Black Adam is like fits that particular mold, because like they will be kind of like our black ops type of heroes that do things that the rest of us won't be able to stomach, because they can probably more than likely or at least better at sleeping at night doing certain things that the rest of us probably will be too timid to do. um, or at least don't have the kind of moral standing to do whatever. So he uses his magic to release Black Adam. He says Shazam. He flies off and teams up with the rest of the Justice Society to stop Sabbath. Which is, you get an awesome move with Hawkman. Even though he didn't wear the helm in order to use the power, which is kind of like the whole point. You can't just hold it and just use mystical powers. You got to actually wear the thing. But he holds the helm and makes multiple copies of himself, which he's learned from his friend, to hold him down while Black Adam comes in and rips the guy in half. But then he decides like he will be Kahndaq's protector. Then of course you got a post-credit scene. Where's Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson? Apparently spoiled for a lot of people, but I kind of knew, but I still avoided like the confirmation. But we all kind of called it pretty much the way he's sitting there just almost blatantly like blurting it out. It's kind of like, okay, nobody ever gives Tom Holland shit anymore moving forward about like, leaking stuff. After what The Rock does or The Rock did, I was like, y'all better not give that boy grief anymore. Because he was better at holding his tongue more than he did. He just like, yeah, we got Superman. So yeah, Amanda Waller sent a drone with a hologram saying like, fine, you don't like my prison, then Kahndaq will be your prison. Don't ever step out of your city, or otherwise you'll answer to me. And Black Adam's like, there's nobody on this earth can handle me. And while it's like, well, I know some people who are not from this earth who can handle you. And he zaps the thing, destroying it. And then you see like Superman, Henry Cavill Superman, which I'm glad Henry Cavill is confirmed that he's still Superman, which we're all glad because, I guess the previous head honcho of the DCEU, was ousted and we got a new person on there who, unlike the previous guy, actually wants Henry Cavill back as Superman. Don't know why the previous guy had such a issue having him as Superman, but he got the split curl hair, the brighter red and blues, and you hear like him just talking with the Superman John Zimmer or Hans Zimmer classic Superman theme song. And you mentioned like it's been a while since somebody caused this level of ruckus or something like that. You're like, Black Adam, we need to talk. And of course, like this is another thing that kind of gets on my skin. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has been like fiending for like Black Adam to fight Superman. I want to take on Superman, and it's like nobody's opposed to that, but not right a fucking way. Okay, you're Shazam's enemy / rival or whatever how you want to view it. Typically, like Black Adam is the anti-hero on most occasions, but he's not a full-on hero, and that's what my grievances I mentioned plenty of times with the current DC Comics right now when trying to push Black Adam being in the Justice League. Oh, he's a hero. Like, no, he's the Doctor Doom at worst in the DC Comics with his own kingdom and his own flexible morality. But by and large, he's an anti-hero. He would not care if we join the Justice League no more than Doctor Doom would care to be or want to be a part of the Avengers. And then like kowtowing, like I like The Rock, but it's like he should understand the whole point of continuity. It's like you're Shazam's rival. You gotta deal with Shazam, because by the time Shazam 3 comes out, these two gotta go duke it out. And then maybe after that you can like, tangle with Superman. But it's like the actor who's going to be like the Jaime Reyes Blue Beetle for the DCEU, you know, going on interviews talking about how like I want to take on Joaquin Phoenix Joker in my movie, and like Zachary Levi, you know, talking about like I want to in my next Shazam movie I want to take on Lex Luthor, and it's like stick with your own guys first. Then y'all can after that point, you know, you can throw in other characters to take on and stuff. But like, you know, it's just there's something that gets on my skin, and like it's minor. It's not a huge deal, but by and large, it's just like standard at the very least. It's like you don't just, you know, just because like you might want to fight them, but it's like you know this is your first movie. Slow your roll. Let's establish like your own, at least one of your roles gallery, and take them on. And and like Captain Marvel and you know Black Adam are the primary bad guys. They gotta duke it out first, right out the gate. That's just like you know, it's not saying like it's like a solid rule, but it's like a standard thing you would expect. And then afterwards, yeah, sure, you want to fight Superman? Be my guest, you know, or be our guest, sure. But it's very weird. Uh, but anyway, I gave this in my DCU ranking video. I gave this movie a B. It's a pretty solid film, a nice little jumping on point moving forward for the DCEU. I like a lot of the actors involved in this, but more specifically, Aldous Hawes, Chris Brosnan, and The Rock. You know, they're probably like the highlights personally for me. But I think Dr. Fate was like even slightly higher because like he was in some treble in this. Uh, but I mentioned about my cons with like the newbies of the Justice Society, you know, the weird thing with Amanda Waller calling on the Justice Society who should not be associating themselves with somebody like Amanda Waller. I'm pretty sure they can do their research and find this person is not somebody you want to be anywhere near, let alone think like, you know, they should be walking around free and should be in prison for possible war crimes at the very least because utilizing she has to abuse some Geneva Convention or something by utilizing criminals to do uh, black ops stuff for the idea of the betterment of the country or whatever by threatening putting bombs in their heads and stuff like that. It's so, I guess, a lot of laws, I imagine. Uh, then the obligatory way of depowering Black Adam for no reason. So, yeah, you know, I mean, like, honestly, other than that stuff, like, the movie is pretty solid. It's a solid film. Like, I personally give it like a B ranking. It's you know it's still good, uh, uh, worth your time at the theater to see. Kind of wish that The Rock did not just uh, uh, spoil everything, just allow the masses to spread the word after they see it. Uh, but anyway, let me know in the comments below what you thought of Black Adam if you saw it. Uh, what you think, um, any pros and cons, and who's your favorite character and least favorite character from the film. And yeah, it's gonna be a guy. I think the next movie will be Shazam 2. Yeah, when's Shazam 2? One second here. Fear of the Gods. Yeah, it's next year. March 17th next year. I think that's supposed to be like the next DCEU film. So I'm looking forward to that. And the return of Lucy Liu, because she's haven't been in much stuff for a long time. And I'm so interested in her performance, her and Helen Mirren. And yeah, so yeah, I will see you guys next time for more reviews, of course. I just got at least 3 more Halloween videos to take care of before the month is over. So look forward to that, possibly, if not tomorrow, Thursday. And